I'm Mark, co-founder of Unravel Carbon, and I'm here to tell you about one of our brand new features that we've just made available on the platform. That feature is to do with audit. So when we've been doing reporting for a little while, it's natural that as reporters, we want to know that our emissions data is correct. The best way in which we can do that is actually to go through assurance audits. These can be limited assurance audits, these can be reasonable assurance audits. Work with your auditor to figure out what's the best thing for you. But what we do here at Unravel is try and make that job of auditing and assurance a whole lot easier. Now, we do that with transparency. So what we can see here on the platform at the moment is here's my total emissions for some reporting period. Now, I can go down to the data export functionality. So here under report, I've got a few different things that I can report on how I provide information to the outside world. But here in data export is where we have really detailed information about every single point of data that's within our data set, within our emissions inventory. So I've just gone to the export area. Now I can see I've got all of these different types of reports and data sources I can get out of the system quickly and easily. I'm just going to look into the fuel one for now. The fuel one's pretty easy. So I've got now this first option in terms of my template, show me the emissions overview. This will then generate line by line information on looking at year, where is my business facility, what is that business facility, and then I can go in and see what emission scope this is, how much was my fuel, what was the units of measurement, how was that converted into energy, etc., etc. So a lot of good information. However, if we don't have all the information that you want in here at the moment, then I can just go add new and exciting things. So if I want to add the month and year, if I want to see this on a monthly basis, if I want to see, where did I get the emissions factor from? What was my emissions factor? I want to see the breakdown with CO2, methane, and N2O. I can do all of those. So I can just make these available and then click search again. That will now appear within my output report, right? My detailed report of a line by line. And then I can just go here and I can export directly to CSV file for further analysis or for sending to my auditor, etc. I can also add filters. So here I can just select a different filter that's all very flexible and look at only the things that I want to look at. So that's the first part of export and the first part of what we're doing. If I then go into the auditor view, the auditor view gives me already off the bat much, much more information, and it shows me the entire flow of data for a single data point of, all of the information that went into a emissions output, all of the information that goes into the emissions number that we then roll up into our inventory overall. So I can see, here's my fuel quantity, here's my fuel type, my units of measure, what energy, what lower heating value am I using in this case, what was my calculated gigajoules, and so on, breaking it down as well. But one of the really cool things is then we can then delve into how this information is actually calculated using our audit formula functionality. If I click on here, this now brings up another window. Just let me give that fewer decimal points. Now brings up another window that says, for this fuel emissions number, 9192.737, how is that made up? And I can see here it's made up of an amount that comes from CO2, an amount that comes from methane, and an amount that comes from nitrous oxide, adding these together. Then I can go a little bit further into the detail. The CO2 emissions come from energy in gigajoules multiplied by the emissions factor in kilograms of CO2e per gigajoules. Drill down again, and then I can see this comes from 4,000 litres, the lower heating value, which is 0.032 gigajoules per litre. And then I've got my CO2 emissions factor, which I can see is coming from IPCC guidelines. And then drilling into that again, I've got my CO2 emissions factor and the global warming potential. So I can really delve into all of the detail that's within here and provide this information to my auditor to help them come up with an assurance statement that says, hey, your numbers are actually pretty good, and here's a positive assurance for your data. Now, typically when we work with customers for assurance, what we do as Unravel is we sit with your auditor, We explain exactly how the system works. We'll go through that in some detail. We'll also then provide a view access to your auditor so they can come in and actually delve into a lot of the detail themselves. What this means in practice is you get a very streamlined audit process. Hopefully, you get this way in which we can get through audit quickly and easily with no non-conformances and a positive assurance statement at the end of that. Thanks very much for listening. We hope you like this. Of course, if anyone has any questions about any of this at any time, please just feel free to get in contact.